Hello, everybody. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. Happy day before Independence Day, Thanksgiving Day, Independence Day. So we should be thankful for that. But Independence Day, it's crazy stuff going on in the world. Who's seen the Vigilante movie? So you need to see that movie. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Military is readying forces to use directed energy weapons in the U.S., I believe, against the deep state. Right? So the world is revolting against the deep state, as we're seeing in Iran right now. So let's look at what's going on in Iran and how I believe that this is going to domino around the world. Probably in New York City and Canada and Europe. So you name it, we're going to see the dominoes start to fall. All right, so here is 2CTV live. The Islamic Republic is falling. So let's listen in to what they have to share here.
Control tower announcements now indicates that all incoming and outgoing flights at Mehrabad Airport in Tehran have now halted. They haven't really given any notice or official explanation, but it's not really that much of a surprise. But we also have the local police and authorities who have a number of them switched sides. We have a number of videos we're going to go through together with Catherine, and obviously we're going to get her perspective on everything that's going on.
Okay, so they go on and they start to point out that in multiple cities, the people are rising up. They're driving the police ahead of them. The police are running down the street and firing behind them. My take on this is the people need to, I don't know, take a pole or something, trip these guys, knock hell out of them, and get their guns and start to turn these guns on against them. You're not going to protest. As you guys have seen in Iran, you're not going to protest and take down this regime. You're going to have to get physical, right? And this is the way it happens. We saw the same thing with our Independence Day. July 4th is celebrating our physically going against the British Empire, which was, suppressing us and taxing us and all kinds of stuff. Same thing that we're seeing around the world right now. And was there revolts? Yeah, there were revolts. Didn't go anywhere. The thing that turned the tide was that all of the militias in each one of the different states, which was almost like their own independent countries, decided to work together and, take down the British Empire, wherever it came up. Of course, it was long drawn out for well over a decade, but they won eventually. And, they came back. The British Empire came back again. 1812, burned the capital. They drove them out again. So it was an ongoing, fight. Eventually, America became completely independent and then had one of the, fastest growing economies in the world. It's still one of the most powerful economies of the world, and it has to be protected against the deep state because the deep state is bringing in communism. So you could look at basically this Nazi communist deep state that took over Iran, going on 48 years ago now, and the people had to rise up, and they've risen up before and have been crushed. Fortunately, they've had the backing of the United States and Israel, which has been helping them and has pretty much devastated the regime, took away all their income and, killed many of their leaders, destroyed the good part of their military. And now the people are in a position to rise up and take it back, right? So they've had to have some help, obviously. Now in the United States, we're probably going to need a little help from the military, but the military is only one aspect of this. If you look at what's going on in Ukraine, one of the second largest city in Ukraine right now. The Russians are starting to squeeze it, starting to surround it. So the second largest city in Ukraine is going to take probably well over 200,000 Russian warriors, soldiers, to take that city. 200,000. And how many army personnel do you think there are? 480,000 in the army, guys. That's it. The Marines are a lot less. The Navy, well, you know, the Navy's on ships, so they're not going to help so much. You got special forces, of course, but they're not in the high, you know, hundreds of thousands. They're like in the tens of thousands, if that. So you have, you're going to have militia here in the United States to take back our country, and this is going to start to happen. So we'll see how it works out. But you know, a lot of people say it's the military. It will be the military and the people, the militias. Right? The militias will be formed back up again. They were formed up during the Revolutionary War. You cannot take a country back by protest, right? It's not going to happen. We've seen that in Iran. We've seen that in the UK. We've seen that in France over and over again. We've seen it. So people have been rising up, protesting, but that's it. The deep state is like, go ahead and protest. You know, we still have control. No big deal. We'll just keep turning you guys against each other, and, you know, put up cameras, and we'll start to survey you, and we'll take away your freedoms on the internet, and so you can't communicate with each other. So this is the process we're all going through, and this is the process that's going to collapse. And we're probably going to see the first collapse of the deep state in Iran. And once Iran is gone, then it's going to be, you know, one country, one state after another is going to start to fall. And it's going to be very fast, I believe. I think this year is a year where this all happens. So if you look at, you know, other things that are going on in Iran, the people, like I said, are protesting each one of the cities. They're going up to the military IRGC gates and storming the gates. So that's happening right now as we speak. So you see right here, we're just talking about the airport in Tehran. Their main airport is shut down because the mullahs are like throwing off their robes and their turbans and jumping in their cars and heading outside the city, right? Because they know if they stick around, the people are probably going to drag them in the streets and hang them, right? So this is what's going on right now in Iran. And it will repeat itself over and over again around the world. So this is the first domino, I believe, that's going to fall against the deep state. And it's going to be rapid succession after this. So you'll see, I believe, at some point within the near future, like in New York City, where the people are going to rise up. Something is going to trigger it. I don't know what it is. No one can figure it out. No one can really guess accurately. But something, maybe there will be a disclosure of some extreme impropriety from Mamdani or the communists or whatever, and people will rise up and they will obliterate them, right? And then it will snowball into Canada. It will go right across the border because Canada is another communist-controlled country right now. Nazi-controlled deep state country. And it's going to happen in Canada too. I think in very rapid succession. Now we see Alberta is, you know, trying to sue for independence from, you know, Ottawa, which is extremely corrupt. Remember the trucker convoy? Boy, they cracked down on that. They brought in Ukrainian baddies and threw some local police force uniforms on them, and they went out and beat the people that were peacefully protesting. So again, peaceful protests do shit, right? They draw attention. That's fine, but the deep state is going to hammer that wherever they see that, guys. So you need to be ready to move to vigilante level and militia form up, and then take back your cities, right? This is what, and it has to be. I saw someone in my chat said, my dad told me, I guess he was a World War II vet or something. He told me that you can vote him in, but to get him out, you're going to have a rifle. And that's the way it is, guys. That's the way it is. We look back on Independence Day. It should be like, okay, Independence Day, we're going to get independence from the deep state. We're going to get our independence from the deep state. So this is where things are going. And it has to be sooner than later. The longer this takes, the more they throw up those control cameras, the more they suppress our free speech. You do peaceful protests like we did on January 6th. They're going to come and crack down on that. I don't think that's going to happen with the Trump administration. There will be peaceful protests, but those peaceful protests are shit. You're going to have to like arm up and take it back, guys. This is the way it's going, right? All right, so let's look at the FA and FO. They've effed around, and now they're going to find out. It's like we've been saying that. It's real cute. We got the shirts and hats and with FA, FO, and we're all like, haha. But it's like for real, guys. We're on the verge of it. It's no bullshit. It's coming. So something is going to trigger it here in multiple states. I would say New York probably one of the first. California is prime for it. Illinois is prime for it. Washington State, Oregon State, Aspen, not Aspen, but is it Aspen? Not Aspen, but Austin. Austin, Texas is prime for it. So you'll see cities that will probably get rampaged, right? So, and the people that have been running the show are going to get obliterated, right? Because we're not putting up with it anymore. Anyone gets in the way of that, some corrupt police force or stupid civilians that are like, you can't do that, and they come out with their wokeness, they're going to get obliterated too, right? This is not going to, once this kicks, don't get in the way, don't be stupid, right? So this is going to happen. All right. Let's look at citizen vigilante. Now, I've been seeing clips of it for several days. Elon Musk is promoting it heavily. It's on Amazon. I bought it last night on Amazon and watched it, and I can tell you it is a very, very good movie, and you're going to like it. All right, so watch it and see, and you're going to be like, So he does a really good job in here. He's an American in Europe with a military background. How about that? And he has all these weapons, which you can't get those in Europe, but he has them, of course, because his dad was very rich. Like, I think they had $52 million worth of properties or something like that. His mom died early, and his dad sent him. You're going to see all this. I'm not going to give too much. My wife is downstairs saying, "Don't spoil it. Be quiet down there." Right. So you're going to see a little bit of it right here, and I'll give you a little bit of insight.
Talk about citizen vigilante.
All right, I have to share the screen. Hello. Got sidetracked by the background noise. Here we go.
But let's talk about citizen vigilante, what I believe will be one of the most controversial films released this year on the level of Sound of Freedom. You will see people wildly praise this movie when it discusses the themes. It is a very cliched exploitation movie in the vein of a Death Wish or a Taken or an old Dirty Harry movie with Clint Eastwood, a revenge exploitation movie.
So basically, it starts out, pretty severe. Gives you a taste of, what's been going on in not only Europe, but here in the United States as well, where murderous people that are from out of our country, not of our country, that are here illegally, do horrific crimes. You see here is a woman that was raped, horribly raped and beaten. He comes and talks to her, and he talks to other people that have been abused by the system. And judges might get some of this vigilante stuff. And I was ready to stand up and cheer for that one, because I am really disgusted with the judicial system here in the United States. And of course, I'm sure Europeans are as well. But we're on it. We're here. We're at the doorstep. The door is about ready to get pounded open by us. All right. And we're getting ready to go in and take down the building. Right. Like I did in SEAL Team 6. Right. Shooters coming in. All right. So, and we're unannounced. It's just a bang and it's on. All right. This is the only way we take this back, guys. We have to take this by force. I don't like to be the one that says this is absolutely going to happen. Maybe it doesn't. All right. Maybe it doesn't. But you look back through time, this is the only process that works. The only process that works. So, citizen vigilante. So he's basically, showing everybody how it works. And he keeps there's a video that keeps running and says, I'm doing this for you until you learn how to do it for yourself. Right. Here in America, it's not going to take too long. Right. There's a lot of us chomping at the bits for this. And we have a lot of retired military that will start this process. We'll train the ones that need to be trained. And we're going to get it on. Right. It's coming.
About an avenger going off to right the wrongs of people who have not received justice from our judicial system. And there are people going to criticize it for being racist, for being Islamophobic. But I think in light of recent events in the UK, it could not be more timely. Armie Hammer stars as a mysterious figure. I don't even know if I remember his name.
It's Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders is the character name. Other members of the cast is Costas Mandylor.
All right, so that's a little taste of it. Go watch the movie, all right? So you can join in the conversation and understand where this is going, all right? So it's going to move in this space pretty quickly this year, right? Things are going to start to move, and we're going to see over 35 million views. Wow, that's impressive. I think it needs more than a billion. It needs billions of views. Everybody on the planet with a brain, because that's only probably about 2 million or 2 billion out of, what is it, 7 billion, 8 billion, whatever it is now. So, but those that, can't think for themselves, we need to help them as well, or can't protect themselves. That's kind of where he steps in. That's kind of where I was my whole career and now. So I'm helping you guys to see, where this is going. So it's moving in that direction. Now, directed energy weapon. All right. So they just come out with the military's going to have sports. Military's been, working on this for quite some time. Now you're like, well, Mike, didn't they use, directed energy weapons during 9/11? Yeah. Who do you think they are? Right. It wasn't our government. And I remember talking to people for years about this, semi-intelligent people, SEALs and so forth, Army Rangers, Green Berets, kind of like my group of people, and some CIA types. So I remember talking to them about this, and they're like, well, I don't believe that because our government couldn't do that. Well, yeah, you're right. Our government didn't do this. It was a deep state. It's a bigger thing. All right. They controlled it. They control our politicians. They're puppets, worse than puppets. Right. They don't have any brains, and puppets, I have respect for puppets, but I don't have any respect for most of our politicians because they know better and they let themselves be puppeted. Right. So, puppet doesn't have any choice. There's nothing there. Right? It's just being moved around. And that's the way you could say, well, that's the way a lot of these people are. No, they're They know what's happening to them. They're allowing themselves to be puppeted, right? So this is some of the things that are happening that was addressed in the movie, right? Vigilante, and how, you know, that system is designed to stop a person like the vigilante or a person like me from informing you, right? And this has been the process for quite some time. Those of us that are awakened and trying to awaken the other ones, this machine, you know, gets activated and comes after us. And this happens not just here in America against awakened Americans, but also around the world against anyone that wakes up. They have control around the world. All right. So, but there's a very small percentage of them, but they're very skilled. They're very knowledgeable on how to manipulate MK Ultra programs and so forth implemented in their compromised news system, in their educational system, on and on and on. I had a Green Beret guy that I worked with in the CIA, former Green Beret guy, and this guy was a stud. You know, he was, you know, hardcore, worked out like me, handsome guy, had a beautiful wife, and we're working in a lot of places. He said, you know, I was in the educational system. I was like, well, really? Why? So he's like, because I really believed in it. So I went in and I was teaching. Can you imagine being taught by a former Green Beret with combat experience? Oh my God. All right. So, and he says, I had great success, but they didn't advance me because in their system, they only allow certain people to advance. Right. And I wasn't in the club. And he says, I got disgusted with it and left. And fortunately, I got to, you know, work with him. He got me out of a pickle one night where I was dressed up as a Pakistani, had glasses, had a mustache, and had Pakistani clothes on. I'm driving a van. In the back of the van, there's like some people that the Pakistanis probably would have carted off and executed, talking to some case officers. And so I'm driving around, and it's a rolling meeting, and it was supposed to only go for a short period of time, like about 30, 45 minutes. And they kept dragging it on. I'm like, guys, this is getting a little hairy. I can't go over the same places. I have to drive in other areas. And some of these places I'm not familiar with because I was in Islamabad and I worked in most of the other cities. So unfortunately, I made a turn, and there was a checkpoint, and they're like, they want to see my papers. And of course I showed them my information from the consulate, or actually the embassy. So embassy there in Islamabad, and they didn't care. So I was told that would be good. Just show them this and you're going to have carte blanche and they'll just wave you on. They didn't do that. Right? So there was a little Mexican standoff there for a little bit. They wanted the door open. They wanted to see what's in that van, and that couldn't happen. Right. So, you know, my buddy came in, you know, I called and said, hey, I got a situation here. So he comes and he walks up and diffuses everything. And I drove away. I was like, whoo, well, so, you know, this will be the thing that's going to happen for us going forward, guys. We're going to take down this deep state. And those of us that have, you know, the background, the experience, we're going to work together. We're going to teach everybody, and we're going to start to take this thing apart. All right. It's got to be done, unfortunately, with kinetically. All right. We have talked about how, you know, it's no, not kinetic. It's it can't be kinetic. Don't worry. Eat your popcorn. You know, the military is going to do it, and blah, 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 blah. All right. So we're at the point now where it's about go time. Right. So we're very, very close to activating. They're activating now in Iran. I think we're going to, I hope, I pray that the Iranian people are able to throw, it sounds like they're doing it right now, throw off, because it seems like our military was like, okay, do it. We, you know, we're holding the line for you guys. Go ahead. And so finally it got to the point where probably the CIA, Mossad, and you know, special forces guys, you know, got everybody, you know, on the right timing, and now they're moving. So we'll see. Yes, Mary. Oh, please, dear God, let it happen. Let it be so. So it's definitely moving in that direction. Well, whether it gets shut down again remains to be seen. But it sounds like our military knows it's done, because they're not really getting involved. All right, they pulled back. I thought for sure this time they would have been, like, you know, putting Marines on the ground. That was the threat, and I think that threat was able to hold them at bay until the point where they collapsed enough that the people can rise up and take them out. So I think that's where we're at now. That will start to, like, when this goes down, now President Trump is going to start to focus here in the United States, and the United States needs to be cleaned, just almost as bad as Iran, guys. So it is horrific, as you guys have been seeing. Our friggin' Congress and Senate, where Congress passed it, but Senate has been vacillating on whether to pass the Save America Act, where, you know, you have to have voter ID and you have to vote on the same day, and blah blah blah. And they're not going to pass it, because they know if they do, their system is done, right? So we're going to see some interesting things happen. Now, we've already seen direct-to-energy weapons used quite a bit. Now, I want you guys to see this clip. Catherine Herridge is in this clip, and she is phenomenal, all right? She has been given a blessing from the White Hat military, I believe, to start to put things out. She is probably going to be involved in the down in Guantanamo when they start doing the military tribunals. She's been down there. She did a video where she toured down there, and I'm like, yeah, she's going to be one of the ones. You know, like we've had Derek Johnson. He was told he was going to be going down there again, because he was told a couple of years ago he was going down there, and they stopped it. And now it seems like it's right on the verge. Now, he had to pull back a little bit because I think he was going to go down there very recent, and, you know, within the last week or two. And unfortunately, his father passed away, so he's part of the state. And I remember that was the way it was for me too. My father passed away. You are the executor of the estate, so you got to, like, you know, work with your siblings and other people that are on the will or whatever. So that's what he's doing. So he's been delayed because he was going to go down there. So it sounds like it's on, guys. Like I'm saying, it's about ready. It's going to kick, right? And we're going to have to get involved. There's no way, like I just told you guys, just one city in Ukraine is taking 200,000 Russians to, you know, surround it and get it under control. That's going to happen for, I mean, how many cities do we have in the United States that are going to have to be controlled? I mean, dozens of communist, deep state, Nazi cities, guys, and some states, for the most part, are compromised. Washington, Oregon, California, they're pretty much complete. New York, pretty much completely compromised. Of course, there's lots of conservative people that don't agree with that, but they're going to need help. All right, they're going to need help. There's not enough, door kickers, as we call them, to handle what's going to happen to those states. So we're going to get call up from everywhere. These are just my thoughts. I don't know. I'm just bandying about some ideas and thoughts. So it may not happen, of course, or it may happen later than I think it's going to happen, or it may not happen at all. So let's look at the direct-to-energy weapons, because I think they could be used against us.
Well, Secretary of War Hegseth just got a live demonstration of directed energy weapons. He says the Pentagon intends to buy tens to hundreds of these in the coming years. It's the first known viewing of a directed energy weapon demonstration by a sitting War Secretary. So what are they? Directed energy weapons fire concentrated energy at the speed of light. And for years, intelligence officials working abroad have reported brain injuries known as Havana syndrome. The condition could be linked to directed energy weapons. And earlier this week, we spoke to Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist Catherine Herridge, and she says the domestic threat is very real. Take a look.
The domestic threat is very real. So finally, on a major news broadcast, they're bringing this out, right? Now, we've seen this, get used in a lot of areas. We saw it in the Paradise Fire more recently. Of course, we've seen it in Maui. We've seen it in, Lahaina. We've seen it in Jasper in Canada. We've seen it in the Palisades more recently, like I talked about in Malibu. So this is, they used it in 9/11, and they've used it dozens and dozens of times all around the world since then, they being the deep state, right? So the deep state is about to meet its match with our new Pentagon, right? Which is basically kicking out all the deep state actors and hunting them and getting them out, all right? So as we do this, then we start to take down the different systems out there that have been used against us. The directed energy weapon systems have been used against us. All right. So we may need the Pentagon to have some of these directed energy weapons to be used against some of those forces that have turned against us, right? They have secretly turned against us. The chemtrailing in the skies. Boy, I'd like to see some directed energy weapons used against those planes that keep chemtrailing. How about you guys? All right, so it's coming. It's coming. We're almost there.
But I think this idea that there aren't domestic attacks and that they haven't targeted civilians is just not correct. It's not borne out by the evidence. And again, the trend that I'm seeing is that the cadence of attacks inside the United States, I think, has escalated. My information is only anecdotal, but I do believe that the 4 years under the Biden administration where we said there's nothing to see here, there's no novel weapon, there's no foreign adversary, I think this was a tremendous disservice and emboldened those who are behind it.
So there you go, guys. Captain Herridge, obviously a white hat, or is being used by the white hats or being informed by the white hats. I wouldn't say she's being used. She's definitely being informed by the white hats, maybe part of the team on a certain level. Yes, let's last the Biden admin. We had lots of attacks during the, Lahaina, Palisades. Who knows if, the Democrats have been able to stay in power. We probably have a lot more directed energy weapon attacks on many more cities at this point. It seems like the fires that are going on in Utah is part of directed energy weapon, fire setting and so forth. So we're going to see more of those. Now, Tracy and I have pretty much this experts that is informing us. She may come onto a show. Maybe she's going to be emboldened. But she is talking about how directed energy weapons can't have water. I'm like, of course not. That's amazing. They didn't have it at 9/11. They didn't have it in Paradise. They didn't have it in Lahaina. They didn't have it in Jasper. They didn't have it in Palisades. They didn't have it in Malibu. So they have, remember up in Palisades, how they had that reservoir that was specifically put there to fight fires for the Palisades. Now, of course, you have these, I like to call them, less than human people, monkey types, but I'm not going to go there. So you have this person called Karen Bass that has been to Cuba, communist Cuba, dozens of times. I don't know if dozens, but at least a dozen. And now she's like the mayor of, LA. And they're saying that, well, we were going to put a cover over that because that's drinking water. It was never designed for drinking water. So they wanted like $12 million cover for that. And they put one on, it didn't work. And so that's their excuse. This is the way these monkeys, It's like a bunch of monkeys running the show. And this is the way these monkeys, climb around and, at us. And it's like whatever comes out of their mouth is gibberish and stupid. Right. So let's go in and let's look at, this update. This is from Adam Carolla. Adam does an excellent job of hats off to you, Adam, for exposing a lot of this. Now, he doesn't go there like I do. He doesn't want to get in trouble, I guess. But he hints around quite a bit. All right. He points a lot of stuff out that makes you go, So he's doing a great job. So let's listen to what he's got to say.
Basically.
Now, the areas that he is at right now, this is the area that Tracy and I went to, and I did videos in all this area. And then I showed where the directed energy weapon that had obviously come from an aircraft over the Pacific had basically, beamed in through this fence. This fence was cooked on either side of it. Nothing. There's no fire material that could have cooked it. It was obviously a beam from a directed energy weapon. And you could see the angle of it. There was a couple of houses that have been, obliterated into nothing. Right. So Adam Carolla talks about how there'll be 10 houses that aren't touched and then one completely obliterated. And then the next 10 houses, nothing. So he's basically diming it out. He's calling it. And he's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm sure he's aware.
Malibu's that way and Santa Monica's that way. And you can see just how random all this is. None of these houses touched. Most of the houses on the street, pristine, fine, boom. And a year and a half later, we have an empty aqueduct. So that would seem to be the water source to fill the hydrants, to put the fires out. And a year and a half in, it is bone dry. I think there's a leadership problem in this town. Now, Karen Bass said she was going to fast track everything, take care of everything. And for Newsom, it's job number one, except for he's out of town. He's on the campaign trail. So he's gone. Karen doesn't care. And to be fair to Karen Bass.
So that's the excuse they use, all of them. So the mayors are always at meetings, just like Karen Bass was in Africa when it was burning. And the same thing happened in Lahaina. The mayor of Lahaina was in Oahu in a meeting with the governor, who is completely corrupt and should hang. Right. So, and that's just my opinion. I don't know. Maybe he just needs to go to jail for a little while, or maybe he just needs to have his position taken away and just goes off into the great blue yonder, and nothing ever happens to him. But there's a lot of people that should be held accountable. Right. And that's what the vigilante movie talks about. I'm going to keep coming back to that. You guys know that I've been talking about this vigilante stuff for a while. And then they come out with a vigilante movie. Wow. How about that? Tens of millions of people are watching it. Probably by the end of it, we might see a billion people watch that. That would be outstanding.
She's too dumb. I don't think she doesn't care, but she also couldn't figure it out. And so we have.
So Karen Bass, of course, she's a monkey. She's too dumb. She couldn't figure it out, even if she was not a monkey, I guess. I don't know. But it is what it is. And I'm not saying anything against her race or her personal appearance. She seems like a nice person on the outside. A lot of these people have a charisma, through witchcraft and, whatever they got going on. But there is definitely a problem in leadership, as Adam's talking about, in LA.
Dry reservoir as the winds start to kick in. Ominous. Spencer Pratt, he was on my podcast, and he's hopefully going to be fixing this stuff real soon.
Now, this was a conversation they had before the election, but this is interesting. Spencer Pratt also talks about in this interview how the reservoir was built to fight the fires. Specifically, it was never designed for water.
This is where your former home was. You're able to get a streamlined trailer here. It's kind of interesting. Do you have to crane it in?
I did have to crane it in, which the craning wasn't the hard part. It was that we had to build a foundation. Oh, shout out SBA. This is my disaster loan, by the way. So I will be paying for this for 30 years. Thank you, Karen Basura. 30 years, $300 a month. So good deal.
So this is your foundation of the house. The house was built in the 60s?
Sounds
about right. A traditional, like old school kind of construction, didn't go anywhere for 50 years. Earthquakes, whatever, mismanagement, burned down with the fire. And now when you want to rebuild, you have to build.
Now, listen, this is what's happening. This is why it's taking so long, year and a half in, for these homes to be built, because they want you to build the impossible home. The ones that are on the Malibu beach, Adam talked about, he showed all the homes that were, he says these homes could be built right away, because these people, this is like their fourth or fifth home. They're all super wealthy people. They're like, we'll build whatever you want, but they're requiring building codes and stuff that is just, people are having to jump through massive hoops that have never existed at any time, anywhere in the world, but they're requiring this for the building. I don't know why they don't revolt, but these people have built a legal wall around themselves, so you have no recourse to come at them.
Fort Knox here, right?
Yeah, we got to put caissons into the bedrock, which obviously you see there was no caissons here, and the house was solid. It was not going anywhere.
This is the thing I don't think people fully understand, is it's not just building a house. Like if you're just building a house anywhere in the country, you just pour a slab, frame it up. It's cheap, it's fast, 6 months, you got a home. Here it's caissons and grade beams and all the rebar and all the engineering, not to mention all the soils report and all the permitting and all the stuff that goes along just with that first. And
all right, so there you see Adam Carolla. He's got some incredible insights. He like talks, and I'm like, how do you know all this stuff? The guy's brilliant. As far as I guess he was in real estate, but he's on another level with it. He has incredible insights, and he knows, he like looks at stuff and said, he was talking to one guy that's rebuilding his home. This guy's like a Hollywood actor. He's got tons of money, and he's looking at how they're framing and how they're putting up the walls, the plywood walls inside, and he's looking at it. He's like, that's a little bit more than you need on those nails. That's and if you do that for the whole house, you're going to be paying a lot more. He just knows all these different things. It's like so funny. So this guy's getting taken, so he's pointing it out, and he's like, yeah, well, whatever. So he doesn't care, I guess. So, but this is interesting times, very interesting times. Now let's look at, throughout time, speaking of time, of how these deep staters have been doing these directed energy weapon attacks. And I think that, like I'm pointing out, that our military is going to start to fight back against them. All right, so let's look. All right, so this is the Paradise Fire. As you guys can see, you got a forest here that's untouched, and houses are burned to, as you see here, down to ash. Now, why do these people feel like they need to put on these hazmat suits? Because they know it's toxic from the directed energy weapon guys. And I'm warning everybody in the Palisades, you should not go back in there rebuild. Because Spencer Pratt was talking about how even though they'd had massive rains afterwards, I think they brought in rains to basically cleanse the place, because if people would come right back in afterwards, they would have had massive health issues. And people would be like, well, what is going on? And then they would have looked a little bit hard at it. But Spencer Pratt was talking about how he had to get a, I don't know, $15,000, soil assessment or something like that. And he says, because I was doing shows here. I'm getting eczema and all this kind of stuff. You're going to get a lot more than that, bro. So you better heed my warning, because that's going to really mess everybody up that's coming in there and rebuilding. They should just make that place like some kind of nuclear, because it is really. It's like a nuclear, because it's the same problems. And when a nuke goes off, the same problems with the soil and environment and so forth as if a nuke went off there. So you need time for that to settle, cleanse, more rains, and over time, it justifies and just goes into the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. But it takes time. So all those people that are working in the Palisades, rebuilding those homes, and in Lahaina, you see Lahaina's the same way. Lahaina's like, I don't know, 3-4 years where, past the time where Lahaina was attacked. There's still very few people that have gone in there, and they put up security guards and fencing so that people can't go in there because they know it's a toxic area. It's toxic. So again, see all the guys with their hazmat? They know. These guys right here, these are Forest Service and probably police and so forth. They don't know. And they're probably going to pay the price, right? Here they are looking at these burnt out cars, and they're probably looking at the remains of someone that was caught in that car from the direct energy weapon. They got toasted, right? Bus, cars, you name it. I think they lost like 48 people in the Paradise fires. And you see whole tracts of homes like here, taken out. And you see the trees all around them untouched. So where is, the fire source? It's supposed to be, they burn the land up, going up to these homes, and then they fry these homes down at temperatures that don't exist in any fire, house fire, wildfire. We're talking ash for like porcelain saints. No, right? That doesn't happen in fires. After fires, that stuff is left behind, marble and all that stuff. That stuff is left. So, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. And you see how this telephone pole was taken down. You'll see a lot of those telephone poles were burned from the inside and then fell. That's how they failed. And they showed all these trees that were burning from the inside, the outside untouched, and they're burning from the inside. The inside of the tree was on fire. That's microwave. That's how your microwave cooks your food, right? So that's Paradise. That was a while back. That was, I think, 2018, somewhere around in there. It's been going on for a while. So Lahaina, show you the Lahaina. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The same scenes over and over and over again. So we even had, like, here in this, this was where boats were. They took out boats in the water, right? Metal boats were sank, right? So here's a boat that got a little damaged. You see all the piering and so forth. It's insane, how they came in and did all this. So it's wild. It's wild the way this worked. So all along the coast, all these, let's go to the cars. Cars just blow me away. And where are they at? Here we go. So this was down along the water. Same thing. There's no fire source over here. And there's a tree. Looks like it got scorched. But, along here, there's no fire source. So how did these cars, all of these cars that were stopped by the police in a checkpoint on purpose so they could burn them, they need to, find out who was responsible for that. We know that the chief of police, I've talked about this over and over again, the chief of police was the same guy that was at the the Las Vegas shooting, right? That super suspect Las Vegas shooter. The one guy that shot all those people from his hotel room. Yeah, no. There's lots of reports where helicopters were flying around shooting people as well. So He was the sheriff there, so he's a puppet boy that allows himself to be puppeted. Brain dead, evil mofo. Just weeks, months before the Lahaina fire, he was put in charge. Hello, all right. So, and then he has his, corrupted, police force, and they stop these people, and these people burn to death in their cars, right? Even people that were in the water, that were just floating in the water, that escaped the fire, were in the water, got roasted. So they just swept that direct energy weapon all across everywhere. I just took out everything. So here you go. Here's all the trees, palm trees, unaffected, and you have the house turned to ash. And this vehicle, everything, even the engine block, roasted, gone. That's way too hot. So anyway, that's Lahaina. Same situation. The mayor's gone. Just like we talked about. Here's Jasper up in Canada. I've been through this town. God, what a magnificent town that used to be. Now, of course, this is Alberta. And we know Alberta wants to break free. Maybe this is another one of the impetus for people wanting to break free, because they know they got, directed energy weapon attacked, and they're done with it, right? They're ready to revolt, I promise you. So same thing, trees untouched, homes turned to nothing left, nothing. There you go. And trees right next to this car that was roasted. You would think that the heat from it would scorch the trees, and like I saw in a lot of these fires, like I've been investigating, and it's just doesn't exist. There is nothing there. Same thing to Palisades. So when I was like walking around looking at all that, of course I didn't get too into it because I don't want to get poisoned. Right? So I'm walking around doing videos, taking pictures, and like trees right next to these homes that burned. A little bit of scorching on one of the trees, but most of the trees untouched, all around the Palisades, right? And just like Adam Carolla was talking about, 10 houses untouched, one burned to nothing, and the next 10 houses and all the houses around them untouched, right? So what's going on with all that? So here's a home burning. It's getting directed energy weapon, scorched. You get the firefighter here, doesn't have any water. And so one of the ways they make sure that there's no water is before these events happen, they start to dry everything out. They do chemtrailing at a very low level. You can see it right at when the sun comes up, you can see it on the horizon. And that comes in and that pulls the moisture from the soil, from the lakes, from the everything, reservoirs, whatever, pulls that up, and then it takes it away, right? So this is one of the processes. It's not just a direct energy weapon comes in and hammers it. There's a process they go through. They use the chemtrailing. They use HARP to, whip up the chemtrailing or whip up the clouds, activate the clouds more so that they draw even more water, and then they just take it away. So there's a whole process that goes on in all this. All right. So here's the Palisades. Of course, they're trying to blame it on this poor flunky boy that set the fire that burned all those homes, and those homes down to ash. So here's the guy. He's the guy that did the fire. He caused the fire. This guy right here. He caused all that fire. Yeah, right. So he's their patsy, I guess. Maybe they got something on him. Who knows? But again, here's rows and rows of houses that have been obliterated. Is that a Palisades? Maybe that's somewhere else. But and mistrial declared in Palisades fire are still, they're just like kick this along. So it's been a year and a half, so they're just dragging along. And I saw this place. This was crazy. And so same thing, as you guys can see, like I was talking about, trees untouched, houses burned completely down to nothing, gone. And then then you'll see some that are untouched. Here's where they're rebuilding. This house untouched, this house untouched. And it's funny because I was looking. I think I might have taken some pictures, but there's one house that had a blue roof, and it was untouched, and everything else around it was gone, like this blue van, right? I don't know if it was sitting there when everything was getting burned, but the directed energy weapon, the blue cancels it out, the frequency. So all the other colors, it'll burn through, but the blue, for whatever reason, it's a frequency that doesn't have an effect. Crazy. But we've seen that in all of these fires. So I would say, get a blue roof. The house that I lived in Florida had a blue roof. Right? So you got to pick them good. All right, so Malibu, along the coast of Malibu, the same crazy bullshit. I mean, you guys you've seen this over and over again, but if you're new to the ball game, it's the same. Here we go. All right, so fried. House, trees untouched. Houses on the other side of the street untouched, all along this Malibu row. I guess they want it for something. All right, same thing here. Fried, houses fried. Across the street, nothing, untouched, right? And there's a little stretch where it has, like I was talking about, they have like 5 or 6 homes that are fried, and then houses on either side are untouched. They're in here somewhere. Here it is, I think. All right. All right, so right here you see all these are fried, untouched. Here's another view. All these untouched. Here's a little side spot. These fried, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's some deep state people's houses or something. I don't know. Or they had the angle. They could only burn so many. It's like you can burn 5 houses on this row. That's all you get, right? Just pick them. It doesn't matter. And whoever's moving the directed energy weapon gun is taking those houses out, just like roasting them all along, and then coming back. I don't know how they do it. I don't even know if it sounds like that way. Right? It might be completely silent, but who knows? Maybe they have drones that do that. Maybe they had multiple drones that were using direct energy weapons. So wood fire can't melt metal, doesn't reach the high enough temperatures. And, like I said, in Austin, Texas, people were just going to go, that's it. That's it. City council, hang them all. Cops, you want to get in the way too? Okay, we're going to, just like in the the movie that I was talking about, they're going to some group is going to start just taking these people out quietly. So here's Savannah Hernandez. She does really great work. Of course, the deep state has tried to attack her several times. She just keeps coming back. She's a warrior. Good for her.
Hernandez in front of the most expensive library in all of Texas, and also one of the most terrifying and dangerous. Now, I wanted to come to the Austin Public Library because this is a $125 million taxpayer-funded library that took over 10 years to complete, and it is now completely overrun with the homeless. Now, this is a 200,000 square foot library with 6 stories, and every single story has a homeless person either lounging on the furniture, in the restrooms, and causing what is quite frankly a very terrifying environment to patrons at this library. And to give you guys a quick example, I was in this library for 2 minutes today. 2 minutes. I got in the elevator and a homeless man who was clearly on drugs jumped on the elevator with me and was having some type of mental breakdown and started threatening the guy that was on the elevator as well.
You good? You good? Well, you're surrounding me, so you're good?
No, you're good.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
This was 2 minutes in. And then we stopped on the kids' floor, and a bunch of kids tried to get on the elevator with this guy, and I told them not to. So this is just one example of what it's like at Austin Central Public Library. But a couple months ago in March, to again highlight the danger here, you had a 62-year-old man who was utilizing a public computer. Now, a homeless man decided to come up behind him and punch him in the head. When he fell to the floor, that homeless man then stomped on his head, causing life-threatening brain injuries. And it ended up being the police chief who arrested this homeless man because she was already here at the library to give a safety meeting on how they could make the library safer. And that's just one incident. Now, back in October of last year, you had another homeless man who went to the 6th floor of the library and shot a patron who was simply using the bathroom. Now, this was a 50-year-old homeless man who was on the bus, had already pointed that gun at a mother and a child. He decided to eat some meth on the bus, and then he ended up shooting the gentleman who stood up to try to protect the mother and child. He then made his way to the public library, made his way to the 6th floor, and then shot unprovoked one of the patrons inside. By the way, you guessed it, this guy had a rap sheet a mile long. I mean, think about any crime you could think about, and it was basically on this man's record, which was dating all the way back to the 90s. However,
all right, so yeah, it's going to be vigilante time, right? For these judges and politicians that are allowing this to continue, guys, right? So you'll see that in the movie. You'll see a little bit of that. And you're like, oh, that's good. And all of us have seen these judges. I was like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And it was like the way that was set up was perfect too. He did like a heroin injection into the guy's neck. He was letting heroin dealers out for free, free and heroin dealers. And this guy was on heroin. He took him to a remote spot in this car that he bought, old used car. And then the rest is, you're going to have to watch. Right. So it's satisfying. It's very satisfying. The judges need to go to prison or something else, Milo, or something else. Right. Probably a lot of something else. I don't know, maybe, one-way ticket to Guantanamo and then bye-bye, right? So I don't know. I think a lot of this stuff can be adjudicated by military JAG officers. And we might see that because for some reason, they have a lot of these JAG officers that they brought in and getting ready to do service within the United States. So it's coming. It's coming, guys. All right. So that's all I got for right now. Jumping on another show. Lots of love to you guys. Stay in the love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.